We will learn a beautiful piece of Zera Shimshon, Parshat Ekev, which is answering a question that very much bothers many mefarshim. We have two parshas, Parshas V'eschanan, we have Parshas Ekev. The end of V'eschanan is exactly the same as the beginning of Parshas Ekev. It looks as if it's a double. And they both talk about having Yidden being Mekayim Torah mitzvahs. The end of Parshas V'eschanan discusses V'shamartas ha-mitzvah asher anochi mitzavcha hayoim la'asoisam. Watch, keep the mitzvahs that I am commanding you today to do them. And on that the Chazal actually darshan the words hayoim la'asoisam. Today in Olam Hazeh you do you're mekayim the mitzvahs. And machar in Olam Haba, lekabel scharam there in Olam Haba, Olam HaNeshamis, or what's going to be after Tchias HaMeisim, Yimois HaMashiach. That's when we mekabel the sachar, the reward for these mitzvahs. That's the pasuk end of V'eschanan. The beginning of Parshas Ekev discusses the same thing, and it says V'hoya Ekev Tishmun, right? And if you will listen, Ushmartem Vasisa Moisam. And again, we're talking about Yidden being Mekayim Torah mitzvahs. Hashem is going to keep tremendous brachas that He's going to give them. Okay, so we have these two psukim that both discuss the same inyan. They sound as if sort of redundant. However, there's not only are they not redundant, if we think about them, it turns out to be that they actually contradict one another. Because the pasuk at the end of V'eschanan says that Hayoim la'asoisam, you're mekayim the mitzvahs, but it's only today when you're mekayim and you're not mekabel schar, and you're mekabel schar only tomorrow. However, immediately after it says v'hoya ekev tishmun, and you're keeping the Torah mitzvahs, ushmartem asisa moisam, and it talks about getting schar in this world. You're going to have a lot of multiple children. You'll have tremendous bracha in parnasa and in all the different like your sheep, whatever the pasuk says, and it sounds very contradictory. So it's not only that there's two psukim one after the other that sound the same. It's exact opposite. One contradicts the other, and it's a peldik ezach. And what's the smichus between the two psukim? So the Zera Shimshon says a very beautiful thought. He says two pshatim. First pshat he says is that be'emes we know that Rabbi Yaakov, the Gemara in Kiddushin, Mem Lametesom base says that schar mitzvah b'hai al maleka, that one does not get schar, reward of a mitzvah in this world, and that's exactly like what we said. Hayoim la'asoisam ulemachar le'olam haba lekabel sacharam. That's when you get the schar. You don't get the schar in this world. However, that we know. That's what it says in the Gemara. Now, there's a very big chiddush, and this is what the Zera Shimshon wants to be mechadish, and he says that Rabbi Yaakov said that schar mitzvahs b'al maleka, it's talking about a yochid, a individual that has his own cheshbon with Rabbeinu Shloim, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give him schar only in Olam Haba. However, if it is rabbim, if there is a multitude of people, a big group that gvaldike rabbim that are mekayim Torah mitzvahs, so then there's going to be schar mitzvahs even in this world. That's what he wants to be mechadish. And this way, it turns out to be that there's a beautiful explanation in the connection of the two psukim, that the Torah makes it one next to the other, and they sound as they contradict one another, that the pasuk in V'eschanan says you don't get schar in this world, and right after that, the pasuk in Ekev tells you do get schar in this world, is in order to teach us this big yesod. And what's this big yesod? The big yesod is that let's be medayek, let us learn well the language of the two psukim, and you will see that here says is this grand vart, the chiluk between the yachid and the tzibur. Because the pasuk at the end of V'eschanan that says hayoim la'asoisam, there it's talking about a yachid a individual. V'shamarta es ha-mitzvah. What the pasuk say? You will keep the mitzvah, Lashon Yachid. Asher anochi mitzavecha, which is Lashon Yachid. And then, hayoim la'asoisam. And not to get the schar in this world, only next world. However, the beginning of the Parsha of Ekev says something else totally. There it says, V'hoyo Ekev tishme'un. You will listen, Lashon Rabbim, ushmartem v'asisem oisam. Then you're Rabbim. You do get schar mitzvahs b'hai alma. And therefore, V'shama Hashem Elokecha l'chos ha'bris v'zachesed v'shashua ha'shnish b'lavisecha v'ahevcha, he'll love you, and V'berecha will bless you, V'yirbecha, he will increase you, he will multiply you, and he's going to give a tremendous bracha in your possessions, in the sheep, in your flocks of sheep, and so on and so forth. So that's not a stira at all, because one's ha b'yachid v'ha b'tzibur. And if you look at the Gemara in Kiddushin, Taf Amitesam base, you look at the Marsha over there, this Yesod is word for word said in the Marsha. Because the Marsha brings Rabbi Yaakov, who says, Schar mitzvah b'al maleka, and he says, don't ask, how could the Torah all over say if you're going to keep Torah mitzvahs, you can have a great life and everything, and it's talking about Olam Hazeh, hooray, he says, Schar mitzvah b'al maleka. So you could answer like the Rambam. The Rambam says that it's not coming as Zachar, it is coming as a siyua, as a help, to be able to make you possible to be Mekayim even better Torah mitzvahs. If you look at the Rambam in Hilchos Tshuva, Perek Tes. However, says the Marsha, if you want to ask it as a stira, the answer is very simple. It's not shver. Because Yesh Loimar, Rabbi Yaakov, that Rabbi Yaakov who says Schar mitzvah b'al maleka is only talking about a yachid, but Zchus HaRabim Maseim HaToivim will bring them all the brachas and the toivos that the Torah talks about, even in Olam Hazeh. So Marsha says Mamish the Yesod. The Zera Shimshon wants to say the same Yesod, and we see how the Zera Shimshon uses his ge'onis to show us, if you're medayik well, the Lashonis of the two psukim, one at the end of Veschan and one at the beginning of Ekev, you will see that this Yesod state da. It's written mefurish in these two psukim, and that's the smichus to show as if something which is contradictory, which looks like contradictory, is really telling us two Yesodos that one is talking about a yachid, one's a tzibur, and don't mix the two together. Rabbi say, but then comes the Zera Shimshon. This is another beautiful pshat. More that he's trying to explain what we talked about, the stira about schar. He's not going into that in the second pshat, but he does want to talk about the smichus hapsukim, the connection between the two psukim, and the fact that the first pasuk is written b'lashon yachid, and the second one is b'lashon rabim. And he says the following: Sheba lirmois, that the pasuk is coming to be meramis, this smichus of the two psukim, the connection, the putting one close to the other, is coming to hint. Shezchus hayachid moyel rabim, the schus of a yachid who is keeping Torah mitzvahs helps not only for himself but for the rabbim. And therefore he says very beautifully that if you're going to be a chizuk in Torah mitzvahs, v'shamarta sa mitzvah, shanoichi mitzavecha, v'shamarta mitzavcha, you the yachid, you should know that it's not only going to be considered that the yachid did the mitzvahs, but it's going to be considered that the rabbim did the mitzvahs. V'hoya Ekev tishmeun, it's going to be considered that many were listening, ushmartem v'asisem oisam, and of course then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give them tremendous bracha. So Rabbi say, it's a beautiful beer that connects that connects the two psukim together and tells us a big yesod of the koach of a yachid, that the schus of a yachid is moyel l'rabim. And the same he explains in a pasuk in the beginning of Re'eh, next parsha, where there it starts off with Re'eh anoichi noisein lifneichem hayoim bracha klala, that Moshe Rabbeinu is giving the choice of bringing blessing or curse to the world, to Klal Yisrael, and it begins with Re'eh, you the yachid see. Lifneichem, it continues with the word Lifneichem, in front of you, Lashon Rabim, which also doesn't make sense. Why does it start with Lashon Yachid and end B'Lashon Rabim. But according to the Zera Shimshon, it's Nifla B'Yaiser, because you're telling the Yachid, you should see and be mizbainen that what you are doing as a Yachid, you should know your schos could be Anochi Noisen Lifneichem Hayoim Bracha Uklala. It could be Mashpia, and it could be considered Moyel Rabbim. It helps for the Rabbim. Now, to explain this, you explain it in three ways. First of all, you could say simple, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves to give schar to Klal Yisrael, and therefore he says, okay, let the Yachid help for the Rabbim. However, you could say two other beautiful explanations in this. The first is, Al Pi the Gemara in Kiddushin, Daf Mem Amud Beis, that the Gemara says over there, that the world is Nidon, is judged Acharuboy after its majority, and also the Yachid is judged after his majority, and it could be that the world, and the Yachid is supposed to look at himself as if he's half schus, half chayva, and the world is half merit schus, half demerit chayva, and if he is going to do mitzvah achas, asherov, how fortunate he is, shechrias atzmei v'skol olam kuloi lekaf schus, that he was able to tip the balance of the tip the scales in favor of himself and the world to be considered merit. So here you see that the Yachid who is being mischazik and mimikayim Torah mitzvahs is moyel l'rabim k'pshutay mamish. It could mamish help for the rabbim, meaning it's going to turn the ichrias atzmei v'skol olam kulai lekaf sechus. That's one beer you can give. And another is a very beautiful beer too, and that is that we should know that the neshama of Klal Yisrael is one neshama. We are one unit, and therefore, if one chelik, one part of the neshama is mischazik, it's mechazik the entire neshama. Meaning, like Rabbi Yisrael Salanter used to say, that if you have a masmid who's learning in Kovna and Vilna, and he's being mischazik in learning Torah b'hasmada, and he's bringing ruchnias to the world, so this is going to be mechazik so much that even a Jew in faraway Paris, who is so far away from Yiddishkeit, and he's about to give up Yiddishkeit, he wants to chalila be mishtamed, become a goy, Rahman al-Atzlan, which he can't be, but he wants to be. But what is going to happen? Because of this hasmada, of this great masmin and covenant, something will hold him back from doing that last step of severing his connection with Yiddishkeit. Rabbi said, where does it come from? Because the neshama of Klal Yisrael is one. If one chelik, one portion of the neshama is mischazik, it's mechazik the entire neshama. And that's what it's saying over here. Kodesh Baruch Hu is not saying, I will consider the Yachid as his schus should be helping l'rabim. It's because when the Yachid is being mischazik and he has a schus, what he really is, he is moyel l'rabim. He brings the rabbim into schus. He brings them into a matzav where they're going to do more good things, more good deeds, more mitzvahs, more masim tovim, because he's mechazik the neshama of Klal Yisrael. Rabbi say that is the second beer. So you have also kipshutoy, maybe HaKadosh Baruch Hu just considers it like that the Yachid should help l'rabim, but it could also be those other two explanations. One, mitzad, the tipping the scales of the world, two, zechus, and the second one is mitzad, giving chizuk to the neshama of Klal Yisrael. Rabbi say we are now in the time called Bein Hazmanim, and it's a time of rifkin, it's a time of weakness in ruchnias. If we listeners will be mischazik in our own Yiddishkeit as much as we can, and Bein Hazmanim will learn more and steig more. Of course, can enjoy Bein Hazmanim, but we should give more chizuk in Moisef chizuk in Torah. Start the day with Torah. So then, what it's going to do is it's going to be mechazik the entire Bein Hazmanim, not only for ourselves but also for Gans Klal Yisrael, because the koyach of a yachid is a tremendous, tremendous koyach. The Kodesh Baruch Hu should help. We should all be zeichet, to be mechazik Bein Hazmanim for Klal Yisrael, and then we will all enter into Chodesh Elul and be zeichet to bring for ourselves a tremendous, beautiful, gewaldige, good year, full of bracha v'atzlacha, and help that the Rebbeinu Shalom will be helping us to be mekayim Torah mitzvahs like we can and like we want, and be zoichet Shnas Gula v'Yeshua, Sabini Beis Hamikdash Hashlishi, b'mheira b'yameinu, Amen, v'chein yehi ratzain. Good Shabbos to everyone.